Welcome! You're in session 6 of our series, Estate Planning Solutions for Families. Now you are going to learn exactly how to protect and secure your information in today's session. The internet is not a safe place, in case you haven't heard the news recently. Controlled access to your information is something that we're here to provide you a tool to use. John, again, is the expert, and so he will be conducting most of this series. So let's get started.
Securing your information. So this is important. We want to make sure it's secure. There's traditional security that's been used that still serves a great purpose. A safe deposit box. You can probably find one in your town at one of your banks. It's a great place to put important papers, those extra keys that Terry talked about earlier, the spare set of keys. A number of things can go in there. Make sure that they're listed in your trust to be able to do that. Fireproof, waterproof, home safe, still an efficient tool, something we have in our house. And it's good to remember if you don't have any of these and you're going to get one, or even if you have one, you might want to rethink. A lot of people just get a fireproof one, and the thinking is, well, if my house is on fire, I want a fireproof safe. And that's true, but what happens when the fire department gets there? They pour copious amounts of water on your home. Therefore, having a dual-purpose safe is really going to keep you more protected. The internet is not safe. I can't reiterate this enough. We've seen so many hacks lately with retail outlets and movie companies, our own government. It's just running rampant. You know, we had a company at one time that we ran a beta test on for a year. It was called Clangistics. You can Google it up. There's probably still video remnants of us on there. And what we did is we designed an online system where people could put all of this information that we're talking about. And our thinking was that way there's just one password that an agent needs to have, should something happen, that they could log into that person's Clangistics account and get everything that they needed. The problem? Security. We put layers upon layers of security. We did so much research on security, and none of these security companies could guarantee us that they could keep our site from being hacked. None of them. And we tried a number of different combinations, but none of them would guarantee that. So we pulled the site down. That's who we are. We couldn't sleep at night knowing that there was a possibility that someday we might be hacked and all of our customers' information is divulged. And we were really the first ones to do that. Now there's 5 or 6 password companies out there where they're trying to protect your passwords and whatnot. And I checked into the top ones, and 3 of them I couldn't find any security on there. The other 2 were using 128-bit encryption, which is the lowest encryption rate that there is. In fact, we had the Heartbleed virus not too long ago where somebody did break in to a particular style of 128-bit encryption. And we just can't risk those things. You know, 512 is the highest rate for encryption now, but none of these companies are using that. And in fact, one of the top password safety companies out there was hacked recently. And you know, it's interesting when these sites get hacked and the owners go, well, gosh, we didn't lose any critical information, but you need to change your password. Well, if you didn't lose any information, why do I need to change my password? You know, the fact is they got hacked, and they're trying to cover their tracks. And how many times have we heard, especially with the recent government hacking, oh, we don't think we lost critical data. And then a week later, we find out 70,000 federal employees had their information divulged to what's going on. And we're seeing that with more and more websites, and it's coming from other countries. They're really trying to attack our banking industry. It's just not a good place to have any of this information that we're talking about here. The old-fashioned way sometimes is the best. So digital access to your information. Remember in session 3, you have the 2 folders, financial and personal. So we're going to want to get those out so that we can digitize them. And we're going to scan and save each as a PDF file. So everything, all of those account, the monthly receipts, your mortgage bill, the letters from your investments, telling you how much you owe, all of those copies that you made, you're going to lay those all on your printer at the same time, and you're going to save them into one PDF file. It's just that easy. If you don't know how to do this, you may have a son or a daughter that knows how to do this, or maybe a grandson or a granddaughter that knows how to do this. It's not too hard these days. Remember that letter that we had to the trustee that allowed them access to all of our login credentials and what to do with that? We're going to scan that letter into a PDF file. We're going to scan the map of the gold buried in the backyard. I can't stress this enough. We need to make sure everything is in there. It may be something you're hiding, but gosh, we need to have that in there so if something does happen, that it's discovered that, oh, there's a map to the backyard where they buried the gold. I had a friend of mine, and his dad had died, and he was the trustee of the estate. So he decided he was going to sell the house. He had his own house. And he went through and painted, and I think he put a new roof on there and got it all ready to go. And the morning that the realtor was going to come over and list the house, he thought, you know, I'm going to go run through there one more time and make sure everything's ship shape. And he went in and he went through the rooms, and he noticed on one of the furnace vents that's in the floor, there was something on there, and he tried picking at it and he couldn't get it off. So he picked up the whole vent out of there, and hanging was a nylon stocking that was full of $70,000 worth of gold Krugerrands. Yep. Remember what I talked about earlier, when people start getting old, they start getting scared? You know, if you're a trustee, if you're a personal agent of somebody, we need to keep an eye on the folks that we're there to protect. And, you know, maybe he bought gold when the stock market was down, and you know, that was his little nest egg or whatnot. The problem was he didn't tell his estate attorney. He didn't tell his son. Nobody knew. If he hadn't have gone back there, boy, those new owners would have been really happy.
I think so.
Maybe they would have been like us and told my friend, but, you know, we can't risk those kinds of things. So here's how we're going to keep it safe. You're going to buy 2 password-protected USB flash drives. Now, if you don't call them flash drives where you live, know that that's what they call them where we live. You might call them a thumb drive. You might call them a memory stick. Let's not get hung up on that. But you're going to buy 2 of these. They hold a ton of information. Probably cost you maybe $30 for 2 good ones. So you're going to buy 2 of those. We're going to transfer all PDF files to this new secured password-protected flash drive. We're going to transfer our login credentials. Remember, we were doing that on a Word document or in a spreadsheet program, so you can just drag that from your computer over to this flash drive. We're going to transfer any other files your agent will need to this flash drive as well. This is all for your agent. Now we're going to create a second flash drive. So now you're plugging your second flash drive into your computer, and you're dragging the files from one to the other. You're creating an identical copy onto 2 flash drives. We're going to make sure that both flash drives have the same password. This is critical. They have to have the same password. So here we go. So you keep one of these flash drives for yourself. You're going to need to update your login credentials from time to time, right? You're all doing that, right? You're doing that every 6 months or so? Good for you. So you keep that one so that you can keep updating at those times that you do update significantly. You just get your agent's flash drive from them, and you drag the new files over so that he has a duplicate copy again. So you give that other flash drive to your personal agent, and then you're going to give the password to your estate attorney.
Can I stop for a second and just
Sure.
interject about passwords? Passwords are such an important part of your everyday living these days. And recently, family friends, they're older couple, and they were very full of life and healthy. And all of a sudden, the husband got very sick. Now, because of our journey that they knew about and the workshops that they'd been to, they were protected and they were ready. Ultimately, what happened was he ended up dying within a matter of days, but 2 days before his death, his daughter got all of the passwords from him because she knew of the importance of that. And you know what? He used acronyms on everything.
Right.
So they'd have never been able to get into any of the bank accounts that he did online or anything like that if they hadn't had the fortitude and the sense to get the passwords prior to anything happening.
Right. And it brings up that other good point that here's a daughter that's having to figure out passwords 2 days before her dad's going to die. We need to have this stuff organized, people. We can't put our family into that kind of position. So the passwords with your estate attorney, now, should something happen to you, your personal agent has to go to your estate attorney to get the password. This is the best security ever, because by having that person have to go to your estate attorney, now your estate attorney is informed something has happened. And there's no trust issues that go on between you and your personal agent. They've got your flash drive, but they don't know how to get into it. There's no worries there. Even if somebody steals it, they can't get into it. These things, if you put a good password on them, they're very, very secure. I know I heard a story about a very rich man, an author that had been doing his memoirs, and this was several years ago, and he had put everything onto a password-protected flash drive. They have yet to get that information off of there. So very secure. And you're alerting your estate attorney. So now your estate attorney has contact with your personal agent, can give them some direction, and they can work together to make sure that everything is taken care of. It is the best security going right now. We're hearing about biometric scanning, and this is where you put your thumb on, and it reads your thumbprint and opens a vault or a door. Some of them use the eyeball scanner where they scan your eye, and you know, it's very James Bond, it's very techy, it's very cool, and we're seeing it now start to seep into mobile devices and other things as well. And we urge you to avoid doing biometric scanning as long as possible. You can control your passwords. You know, we just showed you how to do that. You can control those and get into everything. But if your agent doesn't have your thumb or your eye, they're not going to be able to get into your digital assets. So avoid this. I'm sure, Terry, we'll see some stories in the future where somebody does have somebody's finger, and that's going to be horrible. But for right now, let's just stay away from this because there's no way to control that.
Thank you for joining us today on Session 6. I think that you probably found some very interesting points that John presented here. We encourage you to keep gathering your information, keep thinking about your personal agent and who that might be. And again, we welcome you to contact us with any questions at legacyundone.com. Until next time, thank you.
Thank you.